let's change that and that. Just waiting for the plane to go over so I can get my bearings here. Alright, so, wait, there's going to be a way to whatever. So we'll start then. Every single time, I swear. There we go. Our intrepid band of adventurers, the Warps of the West, have successfully been able to take Gomar's ground back from the bandit king Belarus, and in the meantime also took down Meganir, the traitorous imperial captain who worked alongside Belarus. You have decided to all travel to the town of Dawnstar, the capital of this particular region of Skyrim. During your trip there, through unfortunate checks with horses, you wound up having to spend the night in the forest. There you were greeted by a group of druids who took you back into their camp. After Goxapol had conversed with the leader of the druids, she was given a gift, a small trinket allowing her to communicate with the leaders of any Druid elders that imprint upon it. After a little bit more travelling, you all made it to the town of Dawnstar, where you went straight to the Imperial headquarters to relay the information about Gomar's ground. Afterwards, you went into the Dawnstar HQ to inform Ilya of Gomar's fate. After this, you had all left, with Raimi heading back towards the Imperial HQ with a summon to the Grand Paladin. So, this is where we continue. Raimi, as you walk into the Imperial headquarters, you can see Ilya in the distance heading towards what looks like the Grand General's post. As you approach, you can see the same orc that greeted you initially as he looks up. Oh, hello. You've came back. What's up?
I am looking for somebody, a paladin.
You're looking for a paladin? I mean, we do have a paladin branch. Is there a particular paladin you're looking for?
Yes, her name is Lucina Undergale. Blonde hair.
Lucina. And you see as he looks down at a book, he pulls up a small book and starts looking through it and says, this Lucina, is she based in the Skyrim region?
Yes, sir, indeed.
I don't appear to have any record of her. Give me a second. Let me just quickly check with the Paladin Keeper. And he quickly runs off towards one of the furthest doors on the right. After about 5 or so minutes, he comes back with what appears to be a dark elf who has long shoulder-length hair, male, with dark red eyes. He comes up to you and takes a quick look at the book that he had just been handed and looks towards you and says, I believe you're looking for one of the paladins. Is this true?
Yes.
I am Grand Paladin Marlon. I am the keeper of knowledge for all paladins. And you can tell by his eyes that he is definitely trying to get a read on you. He pulls out a small book and opens up and says, your name, please?
Raimi.
Raimi. And he quickly writes it down. And then quickly flicks through a few pages. Your attire doesn't match ones I would request the paladins. May I ask your purpose?
This person means a lot to me. I'm just looking for it as a friend.
So you say that you know this, Lucina?
Yes, and she knows me as well. We've been separated for a long time.
And you see, flicks through a few more pages. Our records do not show Lucina in the Skyrim base. Are you sure she's not based in some other region initially, and that she may have just traveled here?
She came from a city, Daggerfall, in the Iliad Bay, and travelled to Skyrim.
Daggerfall. Right. He puts away the book, and you can see he actually has what appears to be sort of like a small, like a bunch of books in each of the small pockets, and he picks up the one on his front left and opens it up. You can see it actually has the emblem of Daggerfall on the front of it. He flicks through a few pages and goes, "Yes, we do have record of a Lucina, and as tradition, she has met with the Grand Paladin, myself, as was required. Before I can give you any more information, I must ask something of you. It is a small request, but given the recent situations that have been happening, I must request this be done."
Sure.
Very well. And I need you to make a... Oh my god, I get to use the books because I completely forgot what check you need to do for this. That was a lot quicker. That's... Oh, here we go. I need you to make a charisma saving throw. Yeah, Remy, I need you to make a charisma saving throw. Right. So, you feel a slight shimmering in the air around you. It surrounds yourself and the Grand Paladin. As the shimmering sort of fades, he looks at you and says, "Forgive me, but this is what is called a zone of truth. I must know your intentions before I can give you this information. Now, what is your true purpose for finding Lucina?" Keep in mind, you're in the zone of truth, so you have to tell the truth unless you try and sidestep it.
The real truth is I am actually looking for her as a friend. I grew up with her in Daggerfall. She got sent to fight Daedra. Now I'm looking for her to say some things to her.
And, it is good to know that someone wishes to look after the Paladins. Very well. Unfortunately, the request was rather grand from her. Keep in mind, he is also in the Zone of Truth, so what he is saying is the truth. She wanted an entire battalion of Paladins based on a vision that she saw. Unfortunately, she would not disclose that. Unfortunately, we are spread thin as is with the current pulses, so I was unable to offer much. What I was able to offer her was supplies, a place to stay. Unfortunately, after that, she headed over to the Temple District, and I have not seen her since. She did not return when it was time for her to leave, as is what I expected.
So she should be in the Temple District?
Last I saw, though that was a few weeks ago, and for all we know, she might have just decided to go on her own and dealt with things. I would advise searching about the temples of the gods, the divines that she worshipped. Odds are they may be willing to let you in on anything. And he turns to the orc and says, "Write a letter of recommendation. Let them know that this one can be trusted." He looks at you again. It is a bit unorthodox, but I will give you permission to ask about Lucina's quest. Unfortunately, I cannot offer anything more.
Great. That's good.
And it takes a few minutes, but the orc eventually is able to write a note, and he passes it to the to Marlon, who grabs what appears to be a oddly flat stone, and he presses his holy symbol, which you can see is a symbol to Akatosh, down onto the paper, and you see slight smoke sort of flicker up from it before pulling it away and handing you the letter, and you can see a symbol of Akatosh sort of imprinted on. If any of the priests ask, simply show them the seal. They will know what it entails.
Okay.
And at this point, the short-lived zone of truth spell dissipates around you. Is there anything else that you may require?
Yes, can you direct me to the nearest alchemy shop?
The nearest alchemy shop would be the... There are many in various districts. I suppose the nearest one would be in the third layer. That would be the Fragrant Flowers. More of a flower shop more than anything, but it does dabble in potions a bit more. Pure potion shops. That would be Skeever's Tail. That is down on the lower district.
Very well, thank you for your help.
And you see his composure. He's been mostly rather uptight and professional about it, but you can see at this point he kind of starts to lose that composure a bit. I do hope that you are able to find the person that you're looking for. We have, as I said, been running into a little bit of problems with the paladins. So it is... I thank you for looking out for one of our own.
Yes, no problem.
Very well. I must take my leave. He bows deeply to you and then heads back.
I guess I'll go to the temple district.
Alright. Drayan, Goxapol, what are you guys doing during this time? Guys? I saw you muted.
I know.
Yep.
I was muted for good reason.
I was muted too, so I did not make too much noise.
Okay.
But
Anyway.
while this is going on, I shall be exploring around Dawnstar, seeing if there's any interesting buildings.
Make an investigation check.
Yeah.
Let's have all my audio here. Why is it stopped? It's not stopped, it's just really fucking quiet.
Yep.
This is a very, very big city, and you're not able to really figure out a whole lot about it. The thing that you notice is that every single layer is below the next one. There's 4 layers in total, and you hear, the occasional words being made out, such as the aft district, the bridge district, the bow district, but you can't really ascertain much about it. You're only really starting to explore the 3rd level when you see Raimi approaching from the gates to the 4th level.
So, Raimi, I take it that your talk went well. No one has been harmed, hopefully.
I don't know. That's what I'm looking into right now.
Alright, Goxapol, are you doing anything, or are you just tagging along?
Hanging out.
Okay. So, as you head down the layers, you meet up with passing guards for directions to the temple district, which he simply points down. Another lane goes, "Oh, well, that would be the whole district. That's where the more grander temples are. There's also the holy district down on the lower bit, but I would suggest starting there if you're looking for anyone in particular." And you gradually head down, you go through the gates to the second level, and it's weird. You notice how each level you go down, it gets more and more disheveled. At one point, while you're heading towards the temples, you do pass a very large building, which looks very similar to the monastery that Brother Nara helmed, but this one is much grander and much bigger. Eventually, you arrive through a smaller set of gates flanked by 2 guards which have holy symbols embezzled on their chests, and you are now in the temple district of the upper layer. So where do you go?
Well, I'm gonna go and look in a random building. That does not seem like it's a home.
Okay, and Raby, what are you doing?
I'll go to that temple with the Akatos symbol.
So you go to the Temple of Akatosh, and you can see at the top of this temple is a near life-sized image of a dragon. You've seen a similar sort of statue before like this in the Imperial City in Cyrodiil, the one that was apparently famous for ending the Oblivion Crisis. You can tell that this one is just a replica piece of it, but it shows that it basically is the defining part that indicates that this is a Temple of Akatosh. As you enter into the temple, you are met with a surprising level of peace. There doesn't appear to be a large amount of people in, but those that are just quietly praying. It is a long and beautiful interior with dark oak pews covering the area, large marble pillars reaching up to the top, and on the roof you can see painted is the ascension of Akatosh, the creation of the dragons, and the end of the Oblivion Crisis, all drawn up on the roof. As you approach forward, you can see that behind the grand altar is what appears to be a gold-plated dragon, its wings outstretched, reaching as far as the altar is. Standing there is a few Imperials that are in robes that are quietly talking with each other, and another one to the side speaking with what appears to be a young elven girl. As you approach, you can see the Imperials take notice of you, and one of them slowly walks up to you. "Welcome, child, to the Temple of Akatosh. My name is Brother Joran. How can I be of assistance to you?"
Hello, John. I would like to make a small donation to the church.
Donations are always willing. Please, give me 1 second. And he turns towards the other the others that are there and just makes a small indication of a shaking hand. You can see that Joran is rather elderly. He looks to be in his 60s or 70s with a long beard that goes just below his shoulders. He is completely bald on top, and he's got many wrinkles around his face and such, and he's got a slight hunch to himself. The other priests bring a small wooden box, and one of the younger ones just lifts it up, and you can see there's a few septons in there, but not a whole lot. This would be our donation box. Please, just spare what you wish to, but do not have it affect yourself, please.
I'll just drop 50 gold inside.
So you fish out 50 gold and you just place it in there. The younger priest just bows deeply as he closes the box and walks away. Thank you very much for your charity, dear child. Is there anything else that you wish to speak with us on?
Yes, I show him the Akatosh symbol, and I ask him about Lucina.
May I see that, please? He reaches towards the ladder.
Yeah, okay.
You see, he takes it, and he takes his own symbol, and with a shaky hand, placed it on top of the symbol that the Grand Paladin put, and you watch as it basically flares up with light as he very quickly puts his hand away. Very well. What is it on this piece of... You see he's squinting to try and read the writing. Is it on this, or...
No, it's a person I'm looking for, a paladin.
Paladin, you seek. Well, we've had a few paladins arrive in the temple. Is there a specific one?
Yes, her name's Lucina, the girl, blonde hair.
And as you mention the name, you see his face drop this. Lucina, Right, well, she, And you see he turns to the other priest who's speaking with the elven girl and just says, over there, please, over there, please. And you see the priest takes him aside. And he walks up a bit closer to you. Lucina's quest is a great one. One fraught with danger and risk, as is with all paladins. She came to us asking for the blessings of Akatosh, ones which we were happy to give, but during that she underwent something. There are tales of visions from the gods, and many a time we believe that we receive them as messages. Lucina, during the exchange of blessings, collapsed, and when she came to, mentioned how she had received a vision of death, destruction, of an influx of Daedra, of the Daedric princes themselves stepping foot once more. She mentioned about striking out towards the east, mentioning a beacon of some sort. We tried to calm her, we tried to make sense of what she wanted, but she would not listen. She became almost violent. And with that, she fled the temple. I do not know what became of her. All I know is she struck out east, towards Winterhold, towards Whiterun. Somewhere in that area, you may find her.
So, is there no chance I could send a letter to one of the cities?
Oh, well, you can always send a letter to the other temples. We would be, after your generous donation, we'd be willing to do such a thing, but There is no guarantee that she will be there, but should you wish, I can send a message to them as soon as possible.
Yes, do that right away.
What would you wish the message to entail? I can only send it of a limited amount of words.
Ask her to come to Dawnstar. That I am waiting for her. And that I miss her dearly. And then write my name at the end.
Very well. Give me one moment, please. And you see his head sort of fall down into what appears to be meditation as you see his eyes start to glow a bit behind the eyelids. You see him frown a bit as his eyes dim. Tries again. His eyes glow up again. Dims once more. Then he shakes his head slightly and you see his eyes glow up a final time. Before eventually he looks up and opens them. I have sent the message, however, I could not get a response from Lucina. The message went through, so at the very least she is alive. But beyond that, I sent a message to the Temple of Akatosh as well, to ask them to let us be aware if they run into Lucina again. Unfortunately, it appears that is all I am able to do for you.
Okay, thanks for your help, I guess. I guess I should go.
Be well, child, and may Akatosh look over you.
I'm going to walk away.
Alright. Drain, you said you're looking for any buildings that do not look like a house.
Yes.
Roll another investigation check.
I swear if I end up just finding a rock.
Okay. Through your investigation, you're able to find in this particular layer that there are a lot of different areas. This appears to be for the more upper class area. You try to go into the eastern part of the layer, but you're pushed back by the guards stating that it was basically the Crown District, which, through a little bit of insistence, they're able to inform you that it's essentially where the Jarl and such reside. Through some more conversations, you're able to find a handful of areas, including a few merchant areas. You find a jeweler store, you find a general store, you find a bookstore, and you find a rather odd store called the Grand Entrance. This is keep in mind just during the short exchange that Raimi is having with the Dax. That got really loud all of a sudden.
Oh wow, that's loud.
Yeah, that got really that started really quiet and then got louder and louder for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're able to find. So you're able to discern which, like, what is on this particular layer, and you know, like, where you can go, where you can't go.
I want to enter that weird store you mentioned.
The Grand Entrance.
Yeah, Grand Entrance.
Okay, Raimi, after you leave the temple, what is that you're doing?
I want to go to that Skeever's Tail.
Okay, so yours is on the lower level. Okay, so Drayan, you enter the Grand Entrance, and you can see it's a rather large shop, and you can see there's several stands with jewels and rings and a few books here and there. But the entire area is completely deserted. And at the back, you can see, like, the counter. And in the middle, there is a very large curtain.
Hello?
Why, hello there! And you see the curtain fly back as a red guard steps out in a rather grandiose fashion. He's wearing a beautiful set of purple robes with sort of...
Gilmore.
What?
It's Gilmore.
It might be Gilmore. It might be this universe's... Shut up. He has dark brown skin, bright, very bright silvery eyes. Even from this distance, he's tall, a bit thin. And he has what appears to be a rather... Like, it's still shortly cut, but he has an afro. Why, hello there! Come in, come in! Don't just stand over there.
Why, thank you.
My
Wow.
pleasure entirely. Welcome to the grand entrance, my dear. I am Dula. How can I assist you on this fine, beautiful day?
Well, as you can see, I am a traveling bard, and I wish to know more about this place, though I can see you as the store owner is just radiating charisma.
Oh, my dear, you flatter me too much. Well, more information. Dawnstar or the grand entrance? Which one is
The
it?
grand entrance, please.
Ah, the grand entrance, my little bundle of joy. Well, there's not actually a whole lot to say. I found a rundown store, I renovated it, and here we are.
That makes a lot of sense. It's quite beautiful. And
I thank you. It's been many years of toil and sweat, a lot of dealings with various individuals, including guilds and the like, including a few undesirables, but we don't talk about them.
that we do not. It's an unfortunate turn of events, but we encounter them every so often.
That we do, and I suppose I can't complain much if the coin is good. Now then, how is it that I can help you on this beautiful day?
I have come to browse your wares, see if there is anything that I may find to my liking.
Well, we do have a few displays here, and he beckons to everything that's, that's in the little, stands. There's no glass or anything, they're just there. And I do happen to have a stock around the back, if there's anything particular that you're looking for.
Come to think of it, there might be.
Oh, do tell.
I am looking for an amulet of particular make. I believe it is made of gold and has very flawless rubies adorned in it, along with a symbol, one that sort of resembles a dragon with a scrunched-in face.
You see he kind of frowns a little bit of that. Is this a more... Is this a magical item, or is it more of a just for a pretty special little someone?
That I am not sure. Or, you see, when I was born, I never knew my real parents. The only thing I
Dear, that
remember
is
them,
terrible.
the only thing I can remember about them was that they left me swaddled in this blanket, a similar emblem on the steps of a dark elf couple who took me in and raised them. They raised me as their own.
I will.
I believe they mentioned at one point that there was an amulet left that they begrudgingly had to sell off in order to make ends meet.
You can see that Dula now, like, his face is just what appears to be a weird form of familiarity with it. To lose one's heirloom is a rather unfortunate thing indeed. Let me check. Please, feel free to browse everywhere else while I just take a quick look. And he just quickly turns around and goes back behind the curtain. You hear what was that?
Can I investigate the rings while he's looking?
Yeah, sure, make an investigation check. The interesting thing to note about all of these rings is that they are resting on what appears to be a sort of glyph. Nothing happens when you pick up the ring and observe it, and it feels just the same as always, and you just place it down and nothing seems to happen. They're all rather high quality. A few of them a little bit less for the people who might not have hundreds and hundreds of gold to spend. But for the most part, these are all fancy, and picking up one or two of them, you can feel a slight magical hum to them, but it seems to be a little bit faint. After about 5 or 10 minutes, Dula comes out and just leans on the counter and goes, I'm afraid I don't, and I sent a quick message to one of the members of the guild. If anyone would know, they would. They have not found anything of the sorts, I'm afraid.
I see, then. Thank you for your help, at least, though.
It's the least I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, moving on to more business sense. I apologize dearly for this, but I do have a business to run. Is there anything in particular that might have caught your eye?
Yes, I believe this ring right here, not quite as high quality as others. However, I do feel a strange tingle from it.
Ah, that
Maybe-
one. Truth be told, that's a bit of a party trick one. It's got a rune in it that will, well, not a rune per se, a spell that will, to be honest, it's for the heavy drinkers. It's a old wives' remedy. It's, essentially you speak the command word and you are no longer drunk.
I see then. Quite interesting.
I'm an interesting person. Why do you think I'm so successful?
Ah, that's a fair point.
Anyway, the, hangover ring, as I call it, it would only cost you about 50 or so gold. It's quite easy to replicate that kind of spell. A little bit complicated in getting it onto a ring, but, it's worth it.
Yes, I will pull off this one. And what of the one right next to it?
And the ring that you're pointing to is what appears to be a platinum ring with a large ruby in the middle of it. This was one of the other rings that also had a magical hum. Oh, that's a ring of fireball. Once per day you can cast a fireball at people. Very good for those that are not very acquainted in the arcane.
Or do not know such a spell.
Well, it's one of the more beginner spells that people learn, so usually if they go down that path, they do know it. Unless, of course, he beckons to you, unless, of course, you're one that prefers the finesse of singing, of course.
Ah, so you too have an eye.
Well, you did say that you were a bard.
That I am.
That ring in particular, a little bit more complicated. Having to get a ruby strong enough to store the spell and recharge it. That one would be about 400 gold.
400.
Yes. I should also add that this ring requires attunement. That means you essentially have to... It sounds more complicated than it is. You simply have to stay with it for about an hour, and then once you've done that, it's like a stray animal. It gets used to you as you stay near it.
Ah. Well, you see, seems I only have 310 with me. However, I do have another instrument aside from my lute. Could I have you see it and see how much of a price it would go for? And perhaps we could make a deal.
Why, certainly. And he holds his hand out.
And I get out some bagpipes I had. Yes, I actually have had some bagpipes in my inventory.
Odd. He grabs him and just looks at him a bit weirdly. And you see him like mess about and like press down on it. And he sort of starts to figure out how it works. I mean, these are an odd instrument, and it is lovely. Unfortunately, though, I would only be able to offer you 10 gold for this.
I see.
I mean no offense, but, I mean, I don't even know. You see, he's actually now, like, trying to actively try and figure out how to play it. Like, do you,
Oh, let me show you.
And he passes it back to you.
And I show him how to play this foreign instrument.
Alright. So as you start, make a performance check.
Yeah.
Okay. I just need to quickly check something on here quickly. There we go. Alright, so that was a 9 that you got. Okay.
Yep.
You start playing it, and you start to get a good rhythm, but then, like, your arm switches, it makes a loud screeching noise, which has Dula just cover his ears. No, that's enough, that'll be, no, stop.
Sorry.
And then, so he just says, I would still say about 10 gold for that one.
I understand.
So, will you trade, or do you wish to keep it?
I'll be willing to trade.
Very well, very well. Just give me a second. He reaches into his pocket and hands you 10 gold while taking the bagpipes. As the exchange finishes, you hear the door behind you slam open as a guard with his sword drawn comes in. What was that? We heard a scream! No, don't worry. It was this thing. And he squeezes it to make it screech again. And the guard's just looking confused, like... My apologies. He sheaves his sword and walks away. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. And he places it under the bench. Very well. Is there anything else that I can help you with, then?
Is there anything I could possibly do to help you out?
Oh, I am perfectly fine. Doing business with myself would be wonderful. Just come back if you have any more coin, and that's how you help me.
I am going to keep my eye on that ring, though.
Oh, by all means, do so, do so. Should I reserve it for you? It does have a slight down payment there.
How much of a down payment?
100 gold. And that is added on to the cost, so essentially, I said 400 gold for the ring, so essentially you would need to bring another 300. I hold on to it for a week, and if you don't come back in that time, I keep the gold and the ring becomes available for everyone.
I shall make that down payment then.
Very good,
Seems
very
like-
good. He takes the 100 gold off you. If you could just pass me the... Oh, wait, is that on one of the glyph plinths? You can't miss it. It has a little icon on it.
Oh, yeah, I believe it is.
Good, and he waves his hand, and you look as the ring just vanishes. And as he reaches down, he picks up the ring. He picks up a ring, and you notice it's the same ring that was just on there. Very good. I'll just have to find a place to replace that one then. Very well. And he puts it down again. So, if you arrive here in 5 days with the extra 300 gold, then the ring will be yours.
I thank you, and I shall go off and try to make said 300 gold, or in my case, 90.
Very well. Have fun.
Be seeing you.
I
Sorry,
hope
wait.
to see you too, Bard Argonian.
I wave him off, begin to walk off.
He waves back. Okay. Rainy, you make it down to the bottom layer, and as you arrive, you can tell that the entire layer is in a sorry state. You can tell this is where the more downtrodden people live. As you walk about, you can see many, like, sailors and workmen, all of them sporting, like, signs of malnutrition and all that. You ask about for the Skeever's Tail, and you're very quickly pointed in that direction. As you enter the Skeever's Tail, the smell greets you first. It is a smell of various concoctions, some which kind of tickle the back of your throat. And you can see, sitting on a chair on the far side of the room, a Argonian.
Oh, the smell. Is it coming from you, Margonian?
The Guardian looks and says, "Psst. Comes from whatever around here. What do you want?"
Well, I don't know if you know me, but I need a lot of equipment, if you know what I mean.
His eyes squint slightly at this. Depends on what kind of wares you be wanting.
You know, stuff that makes poisons, acids, things for an assassin.
His eyes narrow once more, and then he starts speaking to you in a form of thieves' cant. Is it, for business or pleasure? He's saying this in thieves' cant here.
And if thieves can't back, I say, this is pleasure.
Close the door.
Close the door.
He stands up off the chair and just walks over to what appears to be a small, like, cabinet. He looks around a bit and just beckons you closer. Right. So, what kind of poisons you looking at?
I don't know, just acids, poisons, toxics, and anything that slowly kills people.
Right, okay, give me a second. And you see him, he actually grabs the entirety of the cabinet and slides it off, and you can see that it's actually got railings attached to the top and bottom, and inside is a few, it's obviously not a very well kept, like, hidden compartment. There's a lot of cobwebs and such, but you can see there's a couple of vials there. Got some spider venom, frost spider venom there. Really gives a bit of a sting there. That there is Skeeverpuss. That'll probably make him vomit quite a lot. Don't really have a whole lot. Oh, that's just plain poison. He points to a vial up at the top. That's just plain poison. Like, that's just a bunch of rat poison put together. Which one are you looking at?
So you don't have any grenades, you don't have any acid bottles, anything explosive,
Look,
anything for my arrows?
I'm an alchemist here. I'm an alchemist. I'm not some weapon manufacturer. You want that? You gotta go ask the guild.
Alright. So what do you have? What do you have for sale for me?
I have poison. That's what I've got. That's all I've got. All right. Frost venom, Skeeverpuss, just regular old rat poison. Like, that's all I got right now.
Alright, sure, yeah, okay. I'll take some of that.
All right. So, Skeeverpuss, that is 30 gold. Frostbite venom, that's only 25 gold. And that normal poison, that's going to be 40 gold.
That's quite expensive, don't you think?
Look, I have to make sure that I don't get spotted here. Anyone finds out about this, I'm dead.
Yes, but come on, we're members of the Thieves Guild. Don't you think you can offer a loyalty discount?
Make a persuasion check.
There's no way I'm paying in full.
That's a charisma check, not a persuasion check.
What do I do? Oh, yeah,
If you click on your character sheet and then there's a... There we go. Right, tell you what, you buy the Skeeverpuss or the poison, I'll give you the frost one for free, alright?
Sounds like a deal.
Alright, which one?
All of them.
Okay, he grabs the free vials, gold first, please.
How much gold is it altogether?
So it was 40 for the essentially the concentrated rat poison and 30 for the Skeeverpuss. So that is 70 gold in total. Because he's giving you the frost spider for free.
Yeah, I'll give him 70 gold.
Right. And he quickly exchanges it and then very quickly slams the cabinet like this to cover the secret compartment. Right. Anything else? Any more of the legal kind you're looking for?
Do you have any, for the opposite end of the spectrum, do you have any healing potions?
Yeah, I've got a couple of watered down potions. I think I've got like 2 weak potions. Keep in mind though that these are expensive. The watered down ones, they're about 50 gold each. They're pretty shit, to be honest. Weak one, that's expensive. You're looking at 300 for the weak potion, but the watered down ones you're only looking at 50.
Okay. Is there any other shops you recommend to enhance my arrows?
Yeah, if you go up to it's either layer 2 or 3, I forget which one. It's a place called the Grand Entrance. They sell the more higher end potions and a few other things. What's another one? Nightshade's Bloom is on the 2nd layer. They're a step up from me.
Okay, thank you for your help, fellow guild member.
As far as we're aware, you just came to browse. Got it?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Alright. Close the door on your way out. And he goes back to his chair and sits down on it.
Okay, I'll go out and to my place.
All right. What the hell's wrong with my music? I got music playing, don't I? Don't I? Did it just crash on me?
What was the items you gave me?
So you have frost spider venom, which they need to make a Constitution saving throw. Otherwise, they take 1d4 of poison damage. And I need to rewrite this in my notes because I had them in my notes originally, but I forgot. So they take 1d4 of poison damage, and their speed is halved for 1 turn. Obviously, they take half damage, and they're not slowed if they succeed. So DC 10 Constitution. Yeah. You've got Skeeverpuss, which will deal... It's a DC 12. Will deal 1d6 of poison damage, and if they fail the Constitution throw, they basically vomit. They skip their turn. And then you've got concentrate rat poison, which is just a straight D8 damage with a Constitution saving throw of 14.
One of each.
Yeah, so you've got one of each. That's all he had available.
Okay.
Yeah, what is wrong with my music? I got music playing, didn't I? It's probably... There we go. Fucking... Alright, so... Garxapol or Drayan, what are you two doing currently? There's a lot of jumping between everyone, I'm aware.
Nah, that's fine. Ugh.
So I'm gonna go to Gil. Hey, Gil, old buddy, old pal left behind.
You know, when you speak to me like this, I get worried.
Can you do me a favor?
What kind of favor?
I need Can you loan me about 90 gold?
Why?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I went to the store and there's a magic enchanted ring that can allow us to launch a fireball.
What, like Lorvo?
Yes, except not as pyromaniacal.
But essentially like Lorvo.
Yes.
Okay, and why do you need that? Actually, speaking of Lorvo, give me a second. All right, there we go. I don't know if you heard me there.
No, we could see your face though.
Yeah. He is actually in a Discord chat right now. He's muted, but I did tell him to get his ass in here.
Yep.
So, yeah. God, I am sweating right now. Okay. Oh, yeah, so you were speaking with Gil about that.
Listen,
I mean, what are you planning to do with it?
basically, I'm planning to keep it just in case as a last resort if we ever need it. And Lorbo's incapacitated.
What do I get out of this?
You remember the belt
The
one Cross had?
Yeah.
I can trade some food and I can trade some food over to him. No pipe ground. Then we can give it to you. Further increases.
Isn't Haas back in Gunmars?
Exactly, that's why I said if and when we go back to Denmar's ground, because believe you me, we're going back there at some point.
Make a persuasion check. That's right, you haven't, because Gil ain't here, you gotta do persuasion against your own party member.
Mm-hmm.
Be fine if he was here. Yeah.
Wait, don't I get a +1 to persuasion because of snake tongue?
Yep. And speaking of which, he's playing Max Payne 3 right now, so he is awake.
Yeah. So, what's that? It's a 10.
How about this? I'll give you half of it. You'll have to find the other half from other people.
Fair enough.
Alright, yeah. And it gives you half of it.
Yep.
Half the gold that you need.
Thanks. Thanks.
Alright, no problem. You want to give Shadow a yell, because he's apparently switched over to Max Payne 3?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, while you're doing that, what else? Like, obviously I know that Emma's going to one of the other shops. Drain and Goxpole, anything particular you guys are doing?
So, Goxapult was it? I know more about your druidic past and culture.
And why would I talk about?
It's mostly just to indulge me. And
So you're just bored.
bored and also in pursuit of knowledge.
Well, there's not much to say, really. I have
Oh.
been a druid all my life. The only
Nice.
reason I left my circle is because it was destroyed.
That's so.
Yep.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Don't be. The ones that destroyed it will be sorry once I find them.
So you know who did this, or at least have an idea?
Not yet. I have been asking around a little, though, before finding your little group.
Of course.
It doesn't seem like many people are aware of what's going on.
There aren't. I had no idea about this. But then again, I'm not a druid.
No. They do tend to act fast for what I've seen.
Almost like they know where the circles are.
Could be. Not something simple to do, though. As you may have noticed with the last circle.
Yes, I can infer.
Doesn't seem like I'll find anything here, though.
Maybe not.
Any other questions, or was that about it?
When you change shapes, does that hurt? Like, at all? With your body mutating and such to a different form?
Not really.
I see that.
It is more like an outer shell, I guess you could say.
So it's like a costume, but better.
You could put it like that, yes.
Interesting. I proceed to write down this little tidbit.
Alright, so you very quickly scribble down the information that you've just got involving druid transformation and about what Gargspol is looking at for. Is there anything else that you two are doing beyond that?
Except being bored? Nope.
Well, I'm sorry I'm not entertaining for you.
I shall try to find people who need
I am a druid.
small
I am
jobs
always
done.
bored.
Okay, so what you say you're doing, Drain?
I am on the hunt for small little job and just things I can do to try and make the rest of the 45 gold.
All right. As just in the time that's been going on, it is about late afternoon at this point. The sun is starting to dip a little bit lower. So just making you aware on that one.
Mhm.
So what, Raimi, what shop is it that you were going towards?
The one I can get arrow enhancements.
The one you can get what now?
Arrow enhancements, like bow and arrow. Quiver enhancements.
So basically things like it's stuff that like magical enhancements and such, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So you head towards the first of the two shops that the alchemist had told you about, the grand entrance. As you head into it, you can see a large room with several plinths with valuables on, one of which is empty. And at the back, you can see a large curtain. There doesn't appear to be anyone in there.
Can I look at that thing on the wall you just said?
Well, the curtain on the wall is behind the like the counter. You'd have to like jump over the counter to get to it.
So there's nobody in this room?
Not from what you can see, no.
Well, hop over the counter.
You what?
Hop over the counter.
All right. You step over the counter and observe the curtain. It's a rather nice curtain. Feeling it, it's rather smooth to the touch. It's a dark blue color, and it stretches far longer than the actual door frame. As you poke about a bit, you hear a voice on the other side say, "All customers should be on the other side of the counter, dear."
Oh, my mistake. I didn't know you was there. I didn't pass X-ray vision school.
Alright. So you jump over the curtain, a few seconds pass, and then and then Dula, who you don't know the name of, Red Guard, flourishes outward and says, "Welcome to the grand entrance. Please don't do that again. I'm Dula. How can I help you?"
Whoa, your name's Dula?
Dula, yes.
Can I call you Gilmore?
I would much prefer you call me Dula, please.
Okay. So this is your shop?
This is my grand shop, the grand entrance.
So what were you doing behind your grand entrance?
Why, getting ready for the grand entrance, of course.
Okay, so I'm here to buy things. Buy some things for my bow and arrow.
Ooh, what is it that you're looking for, dear? I might be able to assist you.
I'd like to buy arrow enhancements and any healing potions.
Healing potions and arrows. I do believe I've got a little bit of all of those. Let me think. What kind of arrows are you looking for? I know you said magical enchanted ones, but is there a preference, or would you rather see what I've got?
See what you've got.
Very well, very well. Stay here for a second. Please don't jump over the counter. And he quickly zips back in behind the curtain. You hear some clattering and banging, the sound of like glass lightly tapped against other glass before he comes out, one arm with what appears to be a quiver full of arrows and the other hand holding a satchel. Well, I do have about 50, they don't give a name for it, but I call them +1 arrows because they do like a little bit more damage. And here I've got a few potions, should you be interested.
Sure.
Very well, so the +1 arrows, as I call them, they do a little bit more damage. Unfortunately, not anything spectacular. Haven't been able to get any good arrows recently beyond those. Those would be about 10 gold per arrow. And for the potions, I have, and he opens up the satchel, I've got 3 weak potions, 4 normal potions, and a greater potion.
How much is a weak potion?
Weak potions are about 200 gold each.
By Akatosh, are you trying to con us? That's too expensive.
No, I'm trying to give you stuff that takes a long time to make, a long time to get equipment for, and can potentially save your life.
Did you know the Thieves Guild offers better potions at a lower price?
Well, if the Thieves Guild have a much lower price, they are free to sell at a lower price.
So you're not worried about competitive prices?
Why would I need to?
Because I don't see any other customers inside your shop.
I will happen to let you know I had a fantastic Bard Argonian show up only a few minutes ago. And I do get regular customers. It's just that today is, obviously, it's late.
Wait, did you say Argonian?
Yes, we have many Argonians here.
What was he buying then?
Oh dear, I can't tell you what a customer is buying. Why, that'd be rude of me.
Okay, so you have a big business blooming, but you won't tell me what items are being bought.
Well, we recently had, well, not necessarily a buy, but a down payment, essentially a reserving payment, for a beautiful fireball ring. Let's see, what else? Oh, we did have a gentleman come in who bought a suit of armor that was enchanted. Somebody wanted to have their trident enchanted. That was about a week ago. What else? I think we did have a recent shipment of enchanted daggers as well.
I also heard that a paladin with blonde hair came in the shop. Is that true?
Paladin with blonde, I mean, we do have a few people that come in here. I know that a lady with blonde hair came in, but a paladin, I'm not sure. She bought some supplies, some potions, that was it.
How long ago was this?
About 2 weeks ago, I would say.
And she didn't say where she was going?
Nope, was not of my business, darling.
Okay, so there's no chance of a potion discount?
No chance of what now?
A potion discount.
Make a persuasion check with disadvantage. I tell you what. How about 150 gold for 1 potion? 1 of the weak potions.
How about 125 and
Darling,
and I'll give you
darling.
some
Now you...
recommendations.
What'd you say?
125 gold and I will give you recommendations. Shop.
You cut out for a second after the 125 gold and...
I will give you recommendations to the shop.
Darling, I'm part of the Merchants Guild. I've gained favor all around the guild. I don't need recommendations. 150 for one of the weak potions, and that is my final offer. If you say that the Thieves Guild can offer you more for less, then why are you here?
That's a good question. What about that plus one arrow? You said that was 10 gold each.
Yes, about 10 gold each. I only have about 20 of them, however.
So, what do these plus ones do again? Just more damage.
Yes, they do more damage. Unfortunately, I haven't got any fancy ones in yet. Making them does take a while, I'm sure you understand.
Yes, okay, I'll take that weak potion for 150 gold.
Wonderful, wonderful. Here you go. And passes you the potion as the gold exchanges hands. And anything else? Arrows? More potions?
I think that... Well, what time do you close, by the way?
Oh, we're, he looks out at the sun. Probably going to be closing in a little bit. Maybe about 20, 30 minutes, unless something comes up.
Okay. Thank you for your business, Gilmore. I mean, whatever your name was. And see you next time.
I hope that I can, potentially give you more service again. Ta-ta!
And walk away.
Alright, and you watch as he goes back in behind the curtain again. Alright, Drain, you said you were looking for odd jobs and places and job boards and such, is that correct?
Yeah.
Investigation check.
Investigation checks of Dragon Cause Argonian handyman.
Gilmore the Savage. Searching about, you don't see, like, people requiring jobs, although after asking a few of the guards, they do indicate that there is a job board in a couple of the inns that are around. The nearest one that they point you to is... Which one? God, I wrote way too many here. The nearest one they indicate is an inn called the Hooked Fish, located on the second layer.
I see that. I shall head over to the Hooked Fish.
Alright. Raimi, what are you doing during this time just as well, just so I can check?
I want to hang around the shop because I intend to go back in and rob the place.
Alright. And we'll hang fire with yours then, because that's a little bit later on down the line for that. Okay, so Dre, and I assume Garxapol is following on. Okay. So Drain, as you walk in to the tavern, you can see that it is already alive with music and laughing and yelling. As you come in, the first thing you notice is a very large Nord that has two smaller individuals in headlocks, and it's just like, you know, it's not like a violent headlock. It's more like a joke one, and it's basically twirling them around while everyone else is just cheering and laughing. It seems to be a rather crowded inn, and it does have a bit of a worn feel to it. You can see that various like bits of wood has been broken off. The tables and chairs look like they got signs of damage. Some of them look like they have been rather haphazardly repaired, but it seems to be a rather homely feel. And you notice behind like the Nord that's wrestling with these other two, a board with a bunch of bits of parchment here and there.
This feels exactly like home. I say to myself as I walk over to the board to look at it.
As you walk by, it's a bit of a tight squeeze. As you walk on by, you see one of the more drunken Nords, like just like, "Hey, the guy you're drinking, boy!" And he attempts to like put you in a headlock as well. I need you to make an athletics check. Athletics or acrobatics?
I'm going acrobatics.
You rolled a natural 19. As you try to avoid the large arm of this Nord, you nearly get away, but he's able to like grab you by the back of your leather arm and drag you back towards him before like, you know, wrapping his arm around your shoulders. "Hey, what's your name, eh?"
My name is Drain.
"Hey, that's a drone. This guy love you, man." He tries to reach in to kiss you. He is incredibly drunk. You can just tell that he is immensely drunk, and the other like Nords and such that are there are just like, yeah, drone, yeah. They're also a little bit drunk, except for like the one that says, "All right, Drayan, yeah, get his name right, God." And they, at that moment, like the two that are these headlock are trying to get free, be like, "No, you're not this time." All right. So anything that you're gonna try and do while you are inadvertently with these people?
Can I ask them? So I'm going to do this. You guys all seem like quite a familial bunch, so could you help a friend out here? I'm actually looking for a little bit of work.
Work, shit, fucking, hey, get us work, what do you want? And the headlocking Noah's like, "Oh yeah, drop balls over there, mate."
Thank you.
Alright. Oi, Bolin, let him go already. He wants to see work. Huh? Alright, sorry. And he instantly, like, seems to instantly lose interest as he begins to take another swig from his tankard. Alright, so you are no longer grappled by this Nord.
I go and I look at the board.
Okay, you can see that the board is actually somewhat barren, but there are a few listings on there. Specifically, they appear to be... It appears that the people in question involve... like, the quality of the parchment, you can kind of tell, like, how downtrodden there are. One of the more worn notes talks about how there appears to be an issue in the slum district, that acidic water with bits of excrement are coming up from wells and pumps, and that while the sea mages have been able to cleanse the excrement, the acid still remains, meaning that it's not like just some form of infection, something is causing it, and it's asking for willing people to go down into the sewers and try and find what caused it. It offers 200 gold, and if they find any valuables down there due to previous adventurers going down, they are free to that as well. There is also a rather fancy bit of parchment talking about the Dullen excavation site, which, talking around, you found out is Dullen is the name of the Dwemer ruins that are over on the west side of the city on the third layer. It mentions how it has hit a snag involving many traps and Dwemer contraptions, and it requires the assistance of adventurers. It basically says that you can get 100 gold plus an additional 100 for every object of interest that's considered unique, and that the pay is subject to change depending on the progress made or the interest of the discovery. And the final one that you see actually has on the top says, by request of the Dawnstar Guard. It mentions about something called the Dova Gang, which is causing a ruckus, and they need people to assist in patrolling the streets with one of the guards. It doesn't say a rate of pay, however.
I shall jot down the thing about the Dwemer ruins along with the acid, and I'm definitely going to ask about the Dolba game.
All right, so you write down quickly, like, what the job is, what it entails, who to go to. They all have various people to speak to. Obviously, the Dover Gang is speaking to a guard. The Dwemer Ruins one actually mentions the Dawnstar HQ, and what appears to be the acid problem appears to be just a regular somebody down in the lower level.
Can I see if there's any guard currently in the inn?
You do see a handful of guards, but they appear to be off duty.
Well, I shall start walking up.
All right. At this point, in the time that it would take you to get up to the top level again, it would be nighttime, just so you're aware. So do you still go up there, or?
I will, well, stay on the lower level and see if there's a guard I can speak to first.
Right. There's plenty of guards that they're willing to speak to you, but every time you ask about, like, you're asking about, like, the Dover Gang job?
Yes.
Basically, each one points out, like, you gotta go to the Dawnstar HQ. That's... If we're asking for help, you need to go to the Dawnstar HQ so you can be registered and all that. You can't just... You gotta go there, sorry.
Thank you, though. Well,
no problem.
So, yeah. I will be going up.
Okay, so you arrive there, and at this point, it's about 8 or 9 o'clock at night at this point. It's very quiet. You do occasionally get stopped by a few guards at this point. Like, they stop, they do a quick check on you, they ask where you're going and such, and you show them, like, the job bit, and they let you go normally. Raimi, as night falls, I need you to make a stealth check. You blend in with the shadows as you watch as, at around 7 o'clock, Dula closes the door and locks it. Takes one look around before heading around the back of the building. You can see from where you are, he opens another door, which appears to be towards the area where he actually sleeps, and climbs up the stairs.
Put my travel cloak on and try to pick lock the door open.
Alright. Make a Thieves Tools check.
How do I do
So
that?
basically, your dex modifier, and because you're proficient in Thieves Tools, you had your proficiency modifier.
So, how do I roll? What do I...
So a d20 plus your dex modifier plus your proficiency modifier.
So... I don't understand.
So basically, you roll a d20 and you add 6 to it. You just very quickly just click the door and it quietly opens as you make your way in. You can see that the entirety of the room is just as it was, with a slight glow on the plinths that are scattered around the main area.
I smile, I rub my hands together, and I'm going straight for that fire ring.
Straight for the what?
That fire ring. Ring of fire.
Wait, what?
I want to look for that ring. That dragon went to buy.
Well, you don't know what the ring... You don't know that he was going for the ring, though. Oh, wait, no, you do, because he freaking there.
Yeah, I got that
I'm an idiot.
information out of him.
So... Making him... Nah, you search around the front area, and you can see several rings, but none of them look spectacular. A lot of them are just like solid rings. You see one that's got an emerald in it. You see one that seems to be like dotted with little sapphires and such.
I'll take them. I'll sweep them up.
Alright, so you take them off the plinths, and you place them in the bag.
I'll go behind the curtains.
Okay. Just quickly check something here.
Surprised there's no traps.
Give me a second. I need to just quickly check something here that I read this bit right. This is so cool being able to actually use the book. That's not it. That's... Why am I struggling to find it? Here we go. Okay. So, as you step over the threshold from the curtain, you take one step in before your ears suddenly start ringing with a loud bell noise. And it takes a few seconds to realize that it's a sound that's coming from all around you, and it is incredibly loud. What are you doing? You got alarms going off in your head and everywhere.
So wait, the alarms are going off just in my head, or
no, everywhere. Like you think it's in your head for a second, but then after like getting your bearings, it's everywhere. It is loud, and you know that people can hear it. Like there is no way people would not be able to hear this.
Then I'll run. Then I'll flee.
All right, so you run out. You are able to quickly hold on to the, because you leap out with such force, you're able to quickly keep all the rings. And as you run through the door, the weight of the rings in your pocket vanishes. As you quickly look around, you can see, just quickly looking through the door, you can see the rings are back on the plinths again. And they are glowing, and the plinth on top of it is glowing red on all areas except for the one that didn't have a ring on it. As you run out, I need you to make another stealth check. You're just able to get into a back alley and hide before a bunch of Dawnstar guards come, their weapons drawn, and one of them with a torch in their hand as they run towards the shop. You can see from where you're at, you can see Dula also running out from the from his living quarters. You can see he's actually, it looks like he was partially like in a state of undress. He's still got like pants on and such, but beyond that he's like he's got no shirt on and such. You can see his eyes are actually like, even from this distance, one thing that you notice is that his eyes are glowing very brightly, even from this distance, as he all run in.
Throw off my traveler's cloak. So I'll put that away.
All right. So you take off your traveler's cloak. You check your stuff, and as it seems, the rings aren't there anymore. They appear to have somehow returned to where they were placed. As you walk off into the shadows, is there anywhere particular that you're heading?
Not just for time, but then actually, I want to go where Draven is.
So you want to find Drayen?
Yeah.
I would say then. I would say make an investigation check because you don't know where Drayen's gone. So you search around for a good half an hour, but you can't seem to find any sign of the Argonian bard. At this point, while near the end of your search, you see several like random people, like of all kinds, elves, Argonians, and such. They occasionally like get stopped and questioned, and on a few of them you overhear, they are mentioning about a robbery that took place, or an attempted robbery that took place.
Well, in that case, is there like an inn that we agreed to stay in?
You guys never talked about an inn.
What's that guy's name again that we travelled with in the car?
The who, what, the now what?
That person's name we travelled with inside the cart.
Volvo, Gil, Gogspol.
Gil, that's it. Gil.
Gil's with Drayen.
Where's Darkstar?
Gogspol is with Drayen. You are the only... They've all stayed together and you've gone off and done your own thing.
I'll just go to the nearest inn.
Alright. Which takes you to, ironically, the Hooked Fish. As it's roughly on it's a layer down, but you're able to get through. You do get questioned a few times, but I would say you're able to convincingly feign innocence and get through to the Hooked Fish. So, as you arrive in there, Drayen, you arrive inside the Dawnstar HQ. And you can see the dark elf girl who was originally there isn't there. It is just a Nord male that is there, who looks up. Oh, well, howdy there. How can I assist you? Drayen, you're muted.
Hello there. I am here about this job featuring the Dolva gang, as they call themselves.
Ah, right, them Dover gang. Annoying little bastards, aren't they? Right, so is it that you want to assist in monitoring them, right?
Yeah.
Right, well, do you know what other details about them, or...?
That I came here for, because I thought you had some information on.
I personally don't have any stuff about the Dover gang. I just know that they're a bunch of shits. Give me a second. I'll just quickly go get my superior. And he, stands up and walks into the back room. You hear a bit of talking, and he brings out an orc who appears to. He's wearing. It's weird. Like, all the Dawnstar guards you've seen have been wearing, like, their full suit of armor. This guy's just wearing a tunic with the pauldrons with his Dawnstar pauldrons attached. And you can see he's got a tusk missing, tooth tusk, whatever, missing, and has a scar just on the right, just under his right eye. But he seems to be in mostly good spirits as he looks at us. All right, I hear that you want to know about the Dover gang and our little job offer. Is that right?
That would be right.
Right. Well, currently the last night patrol's just left, so you'd have to come back tomorrow. But I can definitely pen you in for the patrol tomorrow.
Yes.
All
that
right.
would be all right with me.
All right. He take some parchment from the desk. What's your name, please?
My name is Drayan.
Uh-huh. Stover gang monitoring. What do you know about this Stover gang, just so I'm sure?
Only what the job offer has said.
Which the job doesn't really mention much outside of the fact that it's, the fact that they're making a ruckus. Well, how to summarize it really quickly? The Dover gang are a bunch of Argonians that think that they're descended from Alduin, to the point where they're trying to, as they say it, overthrow the corrupt society and make themselves the true Dragonborns, or some shit like that. I don't know, they're crazy. Won't be surprised if they're hooped up on skooma or something. Anyway, they've recently been causing some issues, starting stuff. They've been attacking the monastery a lot more, which we kind of need that. It's diplomatic as well as just a nice thing to have. What we basically need you to do is, it's about 10 gold an hour. Yeah, you just need to assist some of the guards in, you know, questioning them. You might have been questioned by a couple of guards on your way here. Yeah, beyond that, don't take this as like a form of racism or something. It's just the Dover gang, it's exclusively Argonians, and because of that, we have to be a bit wary around your kind.
I understand.
Right, okay, so I got you penned in. If you come in tomorrow night, round about 6, I'll assign you to a guard, and you can get your patrol all ready and going.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a good night, sir.
You too.
Alright. So what do you do now then, Drain?
I shall start to exit this and realize that it's this late. And we have nowhere to stay. Just literally come to the sudden realization of that.
Okay. So you step out and you look outside. You do occasionally hear, like, the guards, like, just say, "All clear in this front." And, you know, echoes back and forth. You know, just essentially the usual, like, calling out to let them know that everything's okay. And then you realize that if it's this late for them to be making calls like that, probably very late at this point. So what do?
I'm going to go find the closest inn.
Okay. So the closest inn to you is a place called the White Foam, which is located on the 3rd layer. It takes you about 10-20 minutes, mostly because you get stopped by the guards on occasion, but again, you show them like the mention about how you've gone to the Dawnstar headquarters, and eventually you make it in. In there, you can see it's rather quiet this time of night. There are a few people that are drinking, and it is compared to the Hooked Fish, it is a much nicer abode. There is, like, it appears that they've actually, like, painted some of the walls and such. The support pillars are not like they don't look like Flopsome, basically. They look like actual, like, they've carved it out and such. And there is a Khajiit male on the counter, looking a little bit tired, but still alert.
You okay there?
Oh, yes. It's just a bit late, that's all.
True.
Anyway, welcome to the White Foam. How can I help you?
Are there any rooms available?
Alright, sure, we got plenty of rooms. They'll run you about 15 gold each. Is it just, is it... And he looks back at Gil, Lorvo, and Garxball, who have all been following you at this point, because they haven't said otherwise, and obviously Gil and Lorvo are not here. So that would be about, that's about 60 gold for a lot of you.
Of course. Well, everyone, you can all contribute, right?
Lorvo's just there like, yeah. And Gil's just there like, dude, I gave you 45 gold. You owe me at this point.
Fine, I'll use that for your room too.
Alright, fair. And Gil just puts, yeah, what you call it, Gil, just hold on to... Nah, I don't want to talk about it. You give him the gold. So you're giving him the 45, you're taking 15 out of the 45 he gave you, yeah?
Yep.
Alright. Lorvo pays his amount, I think. Does he actually have the gold for that? I need to keep these character sheets open more when they're not around. Yeah, he has enough gold for it, yeah. So he pays his share. I suppose Shadow, Goxpaw also pays her share.
Do I bother sleeping inside?
Well, you can, you don't have to, but, they might consider you part of the, rabble, and at the very least, they'll throw you to the slums.
Fine.
Just say it. If you don't want to go down to the slums, then, it'd be best to get a room.
Fine. How much was it again?
It's 15 gold each.
It is expensive. Alright. I'll pay the 15.
Alright. So the four of you pay the gold, and I assume you go straight up to sleep. Alright. Raimi, you arrive in the Hooked Fish, where you can see what appears to be a bit of a scene. A large Nord is currently fighting a much smaller Nord, with the small Nord being, like, you can tell just from this distance, he is completely hammered. So it is a very one-sided fight, but everyone's just like, yeah, get him, yeah, kind of deal. Because of that, most of the in outside of where the fight's going on is mostly clear.
In that case, it's time to pick a few pockets.
Alright. So if that's the case, make a sleight of hand check.
With advantage, because they're distracted.
I would say yes, because they're mostly drunk as well. I really don't think I'm gonna. I'm not even gonna bother rolling. There's no point. Then no one's gonna match it. You can tell this is the more downtrodden area, but you are able to, between about 4 or 5 of them, because the fight breaks up around after that, you're able to swipe around 14 gold from them. They don't appear to be very heavy in coin.
So there's no items they're carrying?
No, it seems that a lot of these people... again, this is a very downtrodden area. It's not the most downtrodden area, but you can tell this is... The better off do not reside in this area, basically.
I'll look around for Draven and go.
You gonna what now?
Look around for Draven and go.
Looking around, you can see that the inn is very worn down. There's a few tables and chairs that show sign of damage. A few of them that looks like they've tried to be repaired. At this point, the fight's dispersed, so everyone's sort of either leaving the inn or heading back to their seats. You can see a small elven lady behind the counter who's serving drinks to the few that didn't watch the fight.
I'll go up to her.
Ah, yes, hello. Welcome to the Hooked Fish. How can I help you?
I'm just looking for some people. I don't know if they've been here or not.
Rooms available. Let me ask the innkeeper. Bromlif, dear. And you see the large Nord that was in the middle of that fight just comes stomping forward. Hey, how's it going? What do you need? This young lady wishes to know if we've got any rooms. Rooms? Yeah, we got tons of them. Tons of them. Yeah. We got. You can see this. Again. He's like really tall. He's very muscular. He's got a creamish yellow tunic with some very thick leather boots and murky light green pants. And it's what he uses as a belt is just simply what appears to be some old rope. He's got a very long, like bushy beard. It goes down to his shoulders. And he has like that old monk hair look, but with a comb over, like in a futile attempt to try and hide the baldness. But he just looks and says, let's see, it's about 3 gold a night.
Oh, my mistake. I'm not looking for a room. I'm looking for people. I wonder if you've seen them.
For who?
Looking for people.
Some people,
Yeah.
What kind of people?
Argonian bard, a darker.
As you say this, he goes, "Oh, the hell, guy? Yeah, he came in, looked at the job board, and left."
Looked at the job board.
Yeah, he points over to the board that's over near where the fight was. Yeah, he looked at it, took some notes down, left.
Did he say where he was going?
Nah, he was pretty to himself.
I'll walk over to the job board.
Alright. And you see the same jobs that were listed. The problem with the acidic water in the slums, the Dover gang monitoring, and the Dulan excavation assistance.
What's this? Acid water problem.
The what now?
The acid water problem.
So the job mentions of how acidic water and excrement have been appearing in the wells and the pumps, which isn't an uncommon thing, but not to this. But the acidic water is rather uncommon. The city wizards have been cleansing the excrement from the water, but they can't seem to do anything with the acid, meaning that it's something that is not natural. And it is basically asking for brave volunteers to go down and try and find what is causing the acid.
Is there any mention of money?
Yeah, it mentions 200 gold reward if they can find what is causing it. Plus, if for whatever reason, because it does mention that there were some adventurers that have gone down, anything of value that they find down there, they can keep.
I'll take the metal then. I'll take it off the wall.
Alright, so you take it off the wall, and yeah, so now you have the job letter.
Then I guess I'll just leave the pub.
Going to what?
I'll leave the pub.
Alright. So, as you leave, it's getting close to 11 o'clock at this point, so it is getting very late. Because
Go to the nearest inn.
you go back into the hooked fish.
I'll go back to that elf lady again.
You go back to the what now?
Go back to that lady again. The elf lady.
Ah, yeah. Oh, welcome back. I saw you just went out there. Did you change your mind about something?
Yeah, I couldn't find these people, so I guess I'll just take a room here.
Very well, that would be a free gold for the night.
There you go.
Okay, take the free gold, and you go up the... Between like the two separate parties here, the beds are quite different. Raimi, yours is rather like coarse wool. The bed is more than just a few bits of cloth over the one bit, but it's not the worst that you've slept in worse. So you're able to find sleep. And Drain and the rest of you, your beds are like nice, smooth fur pelts. They actually have like stuffed pillows and everything. It is a really nice and comfortable sleep for all of you. So, as sleep takes you and the new day dawns, we're going to call it good for that session because I'm sweating like crazy. And it's been 2 hours that we've been doing this. Yes, you all get XP for that because that's some great role-playing. I am keeping tabs on your XP, just so you know. In fact, I'll quickly just check what the XP is. And I'll give Gil and Volker half of that. Because they're not here!
I should be level 3 by now.
Let me have a look. Where did I put that? Where did I put it? There it is. XP party. There we go. Screw it. You're close enough to level 3. I'll say you're level 3 at this point, Raimi. Also, it lets you catch up because they are a bit too far behind. So I will say that you're level 3 at this point. So go ahead and do all your feats and such. Yeah, you can do that.
Where do I find all that information?
So, I've got the player's handbook right here. And there's probably PDFs on it somewhere around here. So at this point, I know you can choose your archetype. That is... Actually, there's 5 now because of Xander's Guide to Everything. Let me get the rogue one first because I've got the player's handbook right here. Sorcerer. There we go, that's rogue. It feels so good to be actually looking on this. Like, you have no idea. Okay, so the archetypes that you have access to is the Thief archetype, the Assassin, the Arcane Trickster, and once I get Xander's Guide to Everything, so it's got like 2 or 3 more. Dungeon Master Tools, that's too far. That is more feats. Here we go. Oh no, that isn't feats. In fact, I think I actually found... Yeah, I actually got to the rogue ones. There is also the Inquisitive archetype, the Mastermind archetype, the Scout archetype, and the Swashbuckler archetype.
The Dirty Pirate archetype.
Yarr, matey!
You need to do it.
Yarr, I'll be a pirate. Okay, so I'll just throw that back there then. So, starting to get level 3, you can use your bonus action granted by your cunning action to make a dexterity sleight of hand check to use. So essentially, if in combat, you can use your thieves' tools and such as a bonus action as opposed to an action. You gain the ability to climb faster than normal. So climbing no longer costs extra movement. And when you do a running jump, the distance you cover increases by a number of feet equal to your dexterity modifier, obviously rounded up and down, depending. So you're +4 dexterity, so you would essentially be able to jump an extra 5 feet. That is it for what the rogue gets at level 3. Yeah, thief doesn't get, there's no thief archetype until there's no thief ability until level 9. Next one is level 5 for yourself. No, 4. Well, that's ability and score improvement. I don't think that counts. All right, you wrote that down?
What box do I write it down?
You can just put it in. Once I put yours, just put it in the features one because that's what it is. It's a feature. So essentially, you can use your Thieves' Tools as a bonus action. Or take the use an object action. And basically your climbing speed, your running speed, And when you do a running jump, you go an extra number of feet equal to your dex modifier. And yeah, that's everything that a thief gets at 3rd level. I am so glad I bought this book. And the other books. I feel like Matthew Mercer now. But nowhere near as handsome, or skilled, or talented, or handsome, or charming, or handsome. Okay.